Why are cats' tongues as tough as nails?
Why are humans the cat's meow?
Which breed of cat did Noah make?
And who cleans a cat's eye?
There's an actual catty here. Oh, this is going to be a fun episode with Kitty. Hello and welcome to Everything You Didn't Need to Know About. Today we are talking everything you did not need to know about Cats, not the musical. If anyone mentions the musical, they will be spayed live on camera.
Now,
We, of course, will be giving you our favourite facts that we have found out about cats throughout the week. And at the end of the episode, we'll be voting for our favourite fact. Will it come from Kenny? Will it come from Jen? Will it come from Tom? Will it come from one of our cats? We will find out. Oh, boy. We're all cat people.
how many cats does everyone have? Hold up. Actually, no, this is an audio format as well. So 1, 2...
I have one that I know about, but at least two that we're making approaches with who I think belong to the neighbours.
We have 4 cats.
What are their names?
Sparrow, Nova, Rocket, and Brule.
Cute.
My cat is
They're
called
all-
Mr. Whiskers, but she is a girl.
Playing with gender norms. Good work, Sam.
It's 2017. Genders are all out the windows now.
So we have Charlotte and Madeline. Charlotte's actually a pun in French.
And Kenny, isn't your son called Felix?
Yes, but that's irrelevant to this conversation.
I don't know. We're talking cats, buddy.
You have 3 cats and one of them just happens to have assumed human form temporarily.
I found out cats lick to themselves because they are trying to get the scent of me off them. I mean, my cat is. Cats lick themselves to get the scent of their owners off them, as well as many other things like keeping themselves cool. I found out that the cats' tongues are really, really interesting. I've always felt that they were rough like sandpaper because my cat Possum used to lick my hair and it was cool, and that's why it stands up now. And that's because their tongues have got these spines on them. They're little short ones, and they're made of keratin, which is like in our nails, which is why cats' tongues are as tough as nails.
Ah, that was a homophone.
It was a homophone.
Do you know what also has barbs on a cat?
Yes, Tom.
Do we want to get into this?
Yeah.
Immediately going to go for cats.
Big old dick,
Okay.
It's the penis. The penis
Yeah,
has barbs.
nice.
Yeah,
Cat
yeah.
Well, in
dude.
fairness, my cat doesn't have any barbs on her penis because she's a girl.
Mm.
And I would
She-
venture that neither of Kenny's or Sam's cats have barbs on their penises because they're all girls.
And unless you've checked out your cat's James Corden, it's possible that it doesn't have barbs on it as well.
What? Did you
What?
just use James Corden as slang for a genital?
Is that a bad thing to do?
Yes, very much so.
I feel like you were borderline talking about Cats the musical here, so you watch yourself. You have been warned, my friend.
The cats have got quite fascinating bodies, I think, to start off with. I mean, one of the things that nearly all cats can do is the retractable claws. What's interesting about that is that it's actively retracted, but pulling it in, they can't like pull it in themselves. They can't do like a Wolverine shlick shlick. They have to, it passively goes in.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
But which cat do you think cannot retract
know-
its claws?
I know this for a fact, so I'm going to
So I'm going to have a
No, you
guess
do,
before
Kenny,
Kenny
'cause-
says.
I'm going to
Of
guess
all
it's
the
a
cats.
tree cat, like a panther or something, because that would be advantageous for being able to sleep in a tree and not fall out.
I'm going to
No.
guess Cat Stevens. Sorry,
If anything-
Yusuf
Yeah.
Islam.
If anything, Jen is further away by saying a tree cat.
Yes.
Oh, a
a
water
ground
cat.
cat. A water cat.
A ground cat.
A
Ground
snow
cat.
cat.
An otter.
There are water cats.
Flying cat.
Cheetah.
Oh,
yeah. Cheetah have very blunt claws because they run incredibly, they need to have their claws out. So having kind of the musculature to kind of pull it in and out doesn't really work because you want to have that great kind of grip on the ground. Their claws are very blunt, which means when they want to kill their prey, they can't just swipe it and slash it to death. Their heads are very small because they are trying to keep as much weight off their bodies as well, and there's not much muscle attached to their neck. So they can't bite with any particular kind of strength. So the way that a cheetah kills its prey is chase it down, knock it over, basically ankle tap it, and then grab it around the neck and strangle it to death.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah, cheetah are
That's
amazing.
metal.
It's a medal. I only found out recently that tigers are way more like deadly and vicious than lions.
Yeah, lions are chill.
Lions are chill as F.
The only group cat.
Do you know
Yeah.
what song I hate a whim away? One,
Yes.
lions don't sleep at night and lions don't live in jungles. Both things are
There we
wrong.
go.
Do you know what the deadliest cat is?
Is it
Hang on.
Catherine Zeta-Jones?
My lovely assistant
It
is
is
bringing
Catherine
me.
Zeta-Jones. She's a multiple serial killer.
Is it
This is
more
Rocket.
domestic cats through toxoplasmosis or something like that? Is that what you're going for here?
Oh, it quite possibly could be. No, I'm talking about in terms of hunting efficiency. It's the really cute little fluffy mountain cat that looks like if Pokemon did a cat. And it's super fluffy and cute and lives on mountains. I think it's called the Palace Cat.
Pokemon do heaps of different cats. Meowth, Persian, Skitty.
Very true. If they were going to do like a fluffy
Glameow.
cat, like a...
Cat with the pointiest ears imaginable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. A
But yeah,
Japanese manga.
A Japanese
Yeah.
manga fluffy cat. It has
Yep.
the highest hunting rate because it's really small and it doesn't have a huge amount of energy. So whenever it hunts, it kind of has to make a kill. So it has something ridiculous like a 96% kill rate.
Whoa.
Oh, did you guys hear the ridiculous story that Hello Kitty isn't actually a cat that came out? The maker of Hello Kitty
What?
gave an interview about 2 years ago and said, what are you guys talking about? It's not a cat. It's a person called Hello Kitty. And
my
everyone
God.
went, no, you didn't. Like,
So weird. Going back to lions, they've got one of the worst kill rates of all the cats. This is about 20%. So they're not particularly good hunters.
Lions are shite hunters. They don't do anything. They sit at home and sleep, and the lionesses go out and get all the food and bring it back. One thing that the classic 90s Disney film The Lion King actually got right and depicted very accurately, as we would all know apart from Kenny who hasn't seen it.
I've seen it in the intervening years since we first had this conversation.
He has no
but
idea what we're talking about.
No.
A lot of the time,
He
lions
doesn't even know what a
actually
king
just
is.
go beat up hyenas and chase them off their kills. So most of the time, it's just sort of a weird
Scavenging.
feline bullying pyramid. Where
And hyenas are actually quite closely related to cats.
Ah.
Well, the the felines kind of goes like they're called feliforms, and cat and hyenas are kind of in that kind of weird
I
group.
just always assumed they were canids.
No, they're actually not even dogs. They're
Wow.
Because I
about as
know
close to
when
dogs as they are to cats.
And don't-
African hunting dogs, when you hear them communicating, it sounds very cat-like to me. It's that kind of, it doesn't sound like dogs at all. It's a really creepy noise. It sounds like cats, like a scaled up version of, you know, when your cat sits on the windowsill and goes, and it's when whiskers go really far forwards. Yeah, it sounds like a scaled up version of that, and it is terrifying.
Just going back to the Lion King that we were talking about just before, apparently the people who were advising them about the hyenas in the whole movie were like, hyenas are actually good guys. They should be the good guys in this thing. And they made
At
them
least they
Nazis.
didn't-
Great.
At least they didn't have female hyenas, because showing their James Cordens in a
Yeah.
in a,
I still don't know what you mean by James Corden's, but
he's a dick, right?
yeah. But Kitty,
Yeah,
you
but
know
you
he was
can't-
in Cats the musical. We're not
Don't-
talking about that in the show.
I'm not saying that word.
Darn it.
You're the guy bringing him up, all right?
Tom, what is special about a female hyena's James Corden?
well, the fact that you've said as female hyenas James Corden is probably the clue there. They got a
Exactly.
penis. They got a pseudopenis.
Mm.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And it could
they
be
take a
up to
birth
like
through it.
60 centimeters long, right? And
Whoa.
Is that not
Yeah.
normal?
You mean
not in a female animal.
oh,
Jen, you need to get yourself checked out, buddy.
just pierce
I'm very
between
happy,
the
thank
veil
you.
there. I've just shown you three of our cats. So we had Sparrow the first, Rocket the kind of grey tabby, and Nova the black. She took the black. The only cat who hasn't turned up is the one I really wanted to turn up, because that's my boy Brule, and he is a Manx cat, which is the cat with no tail, which
Tom.
comes from the Isle of Man.
Do you know where my great grandfather is from? The Isle of Man.
The Manx cat is really fascinating. So it's a gene. It's just the spontaneous dominant gene that popped up in the population. And so if you have one of your parents is a Manx cat, then the odds are very good that you will have the Manx gene. Except if you have both Manx genes, if you have two of the Manx genes,
Collies.
then you don't survive, because it's
Is
Is
about
that
super
because
tailing.
instead of just deleting the tail, it deletes the tail and the head, and then you're just like a torso?
Yeah, it's a really fascinating and kind of awful
Wow.
thing, because people have tried to breed them. It's kind of this fascinating thing around genetics as well. Like, for instance, tortoiseshells, you tend to only really get female tortoiseshell cats,
Hmm.
and if you get a male, it's very rare and also probably sterile.
Always
But
sterile,
the
yeah.
Manx cat, because it came from the Isle of Man, there's a whole lot of interesting stories about like where did the tail go. One of the stories is that
One of the tales.
Manx cat was getting on the ark. Noah shut the door on the tail.
Ah,
Which means two things. One, there was a specific Manx cat. So there were two sets of cats that came onto the ark, which, to be fair, hard to stop any cat from getting into anywhere. So 2 sets of cats came on, which is kind of unfair, but also that he chopped off both cats' tails at the same time.
Any cat owner has had that conversation with their cat where are you coming in?
Oh, yeah.
I'm starting to think that Noah wasn't the right guy to be in charge of the ark. He chopped off the cat's tail. He left the unicorns and the dinosaurs behind. The guy was not on his A game.
I'm starting to think that he wasn't even a real thing and all religion is a myth.
What? I don't know. I have a little black cat, and we were away for the weekend, and we got home, and she spent like 10 minutes just standing on my chest in bed, like you're not going anywhere again.
That is a little familiar.
She is my little familiar.
Yeah.
The worship of Bast makes so much sense because cats just look like they're sitting around waiting for people to form a cult around them. Yeah, of course.
There's that rule of nature where the intelligence of a conversation is inversely proportional to the distance to a cat. So if you're a long way from cats, you can be talking about like politics or the future of the United Nations and things like that. But as soon as you get close to a cat, it's look at the cat.
It's like how the pitch of your voice is inversely proportional to the size of the dog. So it's like little dog is like puppy, big dog puppy.
I don't do that. I talk to all dogs the same. Go away. Don't like them. Dogs are stupid. Oh, I was thinking about cats that I like throughout history, which is many of them. It's kind of related to a recent topic we talked about. We talked about Full House and how the dog who played Comet went on to be Air Bud. And something we didn't talk about, that Air Bud was in a favorite pets competition and he was beaten out by Salem, the cat from Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And I found out that the voice of Salem the cat was a man called Nick Bakay. And he not only worked on Tina the Sabrina Witch, he also worked on a show called King of Queens. And I'm just going to bring up the names of the characters. He played a few different characters on it. He played Gus. He played Father Melly. He played Father McDaniel. He played Home Centre PA announcement. He played Gil. He played Guy. He played Animal Channel announcer. He played sports announcer. He played theatre usher. And he played Richard Nixon.
That is a broad and varied career in one show. I'm also thinking back to it when you see the old episodes of Sabrina from the 90s, when they cut to Salem like talking or anything like that, the taxidermied cat that they use for that is so janky and disturbing looking. It's really quite like it's the scariest thing in that whole show.
Yeah.
Slightly disturbing. Have you guys ever bought rabbit at a supermarket or seen rabbit at a supermarket?
No, Kenny, neither of you, you're vegetarian.
I have seen rabbit in supermarkets and especially overseas. And do you know why they keep they've always got at least one paw that's still got the fur on it? Have you guys heard of this?
So you could make a lucky rabbit's foot?
So you can high five the rabbit?
No, it's to stop people from selling another white meat as rabbit.
Rabbit's not a white meat, is it?
It's pretty lean.
It's pretty dark.
Okay, it doesn't matter what the color of the meat is. We're not about color in this show.
No, let's.
But the important thing is you can't sell a cat as a rabbit if you've got a rabbit's foot on there that you can tell them apart with. And that's why, I'm not kidding, that's why they've still got...
Kenny, I genuinely thought you said they were selling human meat as rabbit meat.
Is it weird that I'd be less disturbed by human meat than cat meat?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
You know how there are all these cat cafes around the world?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite cat cafe is called Cat's Deli. It is in New York, and it is not.
I've been there.
I've been there as well. It's the.
Did you sit under the sign?
Yes, I did. It's so to explain that, it's the deli in New York where in the movie When Harry Met Sally, it's the one where she fakes an orgasm, and you can sit in that booth, and the lady says, "I'll have what she's having."
Their portions are absurd.
Oh yeah.
Like I ordered a half soup and sandwich, and it was like 4 times as much food as I would normally eat.
It's like, here you go. Here's your slice of bread. Meat, bread, and a pickle.
You've got to have veg with your 6 kilos of meat.
Or as Americans call it, I'll have the small.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the smallest thing you could get on the menu. I was just like, geez Louise.
So here's a question for you. What do cats say?
When mine was little, she said, eh. It was really weird.
Here in New Zealand, it says, it's meow.
It's meow.
I was hoping, like most normal human beings, you were going to say meow, because cats only meow for humans and their parents when they're very small. It's their sign of wanting food. They say meow, mummy, meow, meow, meow,
Oh.
meow. But that's been translated when we domesticated them into meowing at us because we give them food. And now they make a variety of meows to tell us things because we're stupid and we don't speak. Cats speak to each other. Adult cats speak to other adult cats in ways that we don't understand.
Because they're cats.
I heard that cats have like 100 different ways of talking to each other that humans have identified, and dogs only have 10. So dogs are stupid.
There's also a reverse study that looked at, can your cat understand you? And the result of the study was basically, yeah, it's just ignoring you.
Yeah.
Your cat understands what you want and mean perfectly. It's just going.
Which is
Yeah.
absolutely
Nothing but
why
the same.
I am a cat person over the dog person. I love that vibe.
So out of cats or dogs, which one is the best sense of smell?
Cats, based purely on the fact that in Red Dwarf, the cats have evolved a complex literature based on smells. And there's the bit in the Red Dwarf novel where Cat finds out that Lister has written some tolerable cat poetry in his laundry basket.
And it is cats. It's cats. On average, it's cats.
Yes.
Yeah, because dogs are quite diverse, right? Because bloodhounds are really good smelling.
Yeah,
so-
lots of noses, and
Yeah.
like chihuahuas, not many noses. But speaking of how cats communicate, going back to the big cats, one of the big differences between if you're a big cat or not a big cat is if you can purr, because lions, tigers, not bears, cannot purr. They can roar, but they can't purr because their hyoid bone, their kind of neck bone, is very flexible. It's got this big stiff kind of bit of cartilage in there, which means they can't purr. Cheetah can purr, which means they're not big cats. They are.
Does that mean that I can snuggle a cheetah?
There's actually videos online of a guy like lying down and a whole bunch of cheetah coming in and lying on him, and it's
I've seen that.
exactly
That's
as you would-
it's Joe Exotic.
no.
They do, well, they used to do cheetah encounters at the Wellington Zoo. And sometimes when you'd go to the zoo, they'd be walking the cheetah on a leash through the zoo to like acclimatize it to humans.
So long as you don't run away prinking like a gazelle, you're probably okay.
I've done the encounter. It's very cool. It's very fun. They purr. They literally like they go. The tail is incredible. It's incredibly long for a cheetah because they use it like a rudder.
They've been kept as pets as far back as Egyptian times.
In China, they domesticated separately the leopard cat as far back as 5500 BC, which is actually still 2000 years later than the earliest evidence we have for what we now call domestic cat domestication, which was 7500 BC. And the reason that we know that it was domesticated is because someone had brought the cat to Cyprus and it's buried.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they found a cat door in one of their huts.
No, but Cyprus has no indigenous fauna, so indigenous mammalian fauna.
You can keep any cat as a domesticated cat. You just need to be really stupid, right? There are more tigers in captivity in the US than there are anywhere in the world in the wild. And there's the famous, there were the nightclub owners in London who had the lion.
They adopted it from Harrods.
Yeah, because Harrods said you can buy anything in Harrods. And so they went in and said, we'll have a lion, thank you. And Harrods went, give us a week. And they did something horrible and they probably stole lion cubs from their mum in Kenya or something and bought this lion.
Can you blame them? Oh, yes, you can. You are. You're doing it right now. Yeah.
Mali as well.
Definitely blame them.
But they ended up taking the lion back and reacclimating it. And it was a TV program.
The reunion.
Yeah.
And there's this
Christian
wonderful
the
clip because these were very flamboyant nightclub owners, long flowing clothing, very elegant, so flambeing across the Sahara towards this lion who goes, and you see in close up this lion going, what the hell is this? And then realizing that it's the people who raised him as a cub and like running towards them, and then
it looks like he's going to destroy them, and then he full out just hugs them.
And then exactly. He jumps up on
and he's giving them headbutts. It's so cute, and it's knocking them off their feet.
If you had a lion as a pet and it sat on you, you would have that would be the excuse to not have to go up and do anything. You'd be like, sorry, cat's on me, but it's a lion.
I have to have a lion.
There is a theory that cat purrs assist in healing and can assist in welding broken bones back together. I don't know. It starts to get into that whole like magic resonance thing, which is a bit woo for me. But
it sounds to me like having low blood pressure and being more relaxed about your healing process is probably
seems
a good
much
thing.
more likely. Yeah. They're warm and they're like a little hot water bottle.
And they bring you mice to eat because they just assume you're a shit hunter.
Have you guys heard the story of the leopard seal? I mean, we're kind of a little off cats, but it's a leopard. So there's diver who's down filming underneath the oceans in Antarctica, and this leopard seal comes up to him and thinks that he's a leopard seal, I guess, and so he's like, oh hey, like starts to play with him, and then thinks this guy's sick. I thinks he must be a sick leopard seal, so he comes over and catches a penguin and brings it over to him, and the penguin alive, like injured, swimming around, and the leopard seal like brings him a few more. So there's these kind of injured penguins floating around this poor diver, and then the leopard seal goes, you can see it going, God, he's not hunting, he's not going for them, he must be really sick. So starts just going over and killing the penguins and leaving them these floating penguin corpses in front of this diver as he's trying to get this footage of presumably penguins.
It assumed the camera was his head, right? And it was got to the point, it was like, you are so dumb, I'm going to force feed you this penguin. And got amazing footage. Just
Well, I wanted to talk about Cat's eyes because I think they're amazing. And then I got sidetracked and I got onto retro-reflective raised pavement markers, better known as Cat's eyes. And I found out that they are self-cleaning. The glass is encased in rubber. So when a car drives past, it kind of squishes down and the rubber goes over the top, and then it comes back out when the car goes back up again and it cleans itself.
That's so clever.
It's really clever.
Because cats clean themselves as well.
Yeah.
And cats have a second eyelid. They're called the nictating.
I've got a second eyelid.
My cat has injured her nictating membrane twice, her first Halloween and her second Halloween. She was at the vet's and they put a green stain in to check for where the scratches are, and so she had green snot and green tears, fluorescent green tears coming out on Halloween. She was a very spooky little black cat.
Lovely.
She would have got so many treats when she was trick-or-treating.
I do just also want to posit one thought experiment. You know the concept of creating a perpetual motion machine by placing a piece of buttered toast butter side up on the back of a cat, because cats always land on their feet and buttered toast always lands butter side down. Do you know the internet sensation Jorts the cat? He became famous because in part one of his co-workers buttered him. So maybe she was just misguidedly trying to create a perpetual motion machine. I just want to put that out there. Also, hi Jorts, massive fan, love you.
Do you know who died the day after Doris Day died?
Not Grumpy Cat.
Grumpy Cat. The day after Doris Day died. That is so fun to say. It was also the same day as Tim Conway died. He is a famous comedian who was on the Carol Burnett Show and on McHale's Navy.
Have you guys heard about cat terminal velocity?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. So if you were so inclined, you could throw a cat out a window. And cats have a chance of hurting themselves in the period of time it takes them to get into the posture where they're going to land on their feet. If they fall on their backs, they're in trouble. And there's an optimum posture which they can get into, which takes them about the time it would take to fall from about a 3-story building. So up to a 3-story building, there's a chance they're going to hurt themselves if they're not quite set up. But when they land, they've got springy bodies, they've got a big surface area to wait for, unless they're really fat. Once they're above 3 stories in height, though, it doesn't really matter how high you drop the cat from. It's still got about the same chance of living. And so there are cats that have been chucked out of 19th floors of Bostonian high-rise buildings and all, survived with a little bit of bruising and a bit of grumpiness.
They often have an injury to the chin, and they call it high-rise syndrome because they kind of slap the ground a little bit hard. It's the same reason you can't kill a mouse by throwing it off a building.
Is that where the saying "it's raining cats and dogs" comes from?
People do.
Yeah, because the dogs die and the cats are fine.
That's why they're better. Also... We better wrap up. Let's quickly go around and remind everyone of our facts. My fact was that cats' tongues are as hard as nails because they're made of keratin, the same stuff as nails.
My fact is that cats meow at humans and their mums, but mostly humans.
My fact is that the story of the Manx Cat, which has no tail, is that Noah chopped it off on the ark.
Cat's eyes are self-cleaning.
And on the count of 3, let's point to the person we think had the best fact of the day. And a 1, and a 2, and a 3. So yes, it's you, Jim. Please take it away. You've got 1 minute.
Oh, Tara, thank you very much for listening to us this week. We did not come close to scratching the surface of the wonders that are cats, so please drop your favourite cat facts to us, either on our Twitter accounts or in the comments below the YouTube video. Come back, listen next week when we'll be talking about something equally exciting. Like, subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you again next week.
Oh, and I just want to finish off with this. Midnight.
I was going to do that.
Sound-
I was going to do that exact thing.